Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Sabansi. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today, oh man, we got a show for you guys here today. But before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Yo, man. These dudes, man. These dudes, man. I don't know what to say. Man. I don't know what to say. For a player that has retired over 20 years ago, that has been retired for over 20 years, in the case of MJ, it's just amazing to me that dudes to this day are still trying to knock MJ off of his pedestal, which is unbelievable to me. And I've heard every single wacky argument, or at least that's what I thought. What am I referring to? As you guys know, Gilbert Arenas has a podcast. It's called Gil's Arena. Usually it's himself, in terms of we're talking about NBA players, himself, Kenyon Martin, Rashard McCants, and Brandon Jennings. And then from that point, they then bring on various guests. They will bring on the last one was Patrick Beverley. They had an electrifying conversation. There was a lot from there, especially between Patrick Beverley and Rashard McCants. So then yesterday I saw a clip that was presented to me on Instagram, and this clip was featuring Rich Paul. And the clip essentially has something to the effect of MJ never faced this and this and that. And I was like, okay, here we go with the BS. So Rich Paul starts saying this, and I said, okay, I got to go look for the original video of him discussing this. So I searched for the video, and I find it from Gilbert Arenas' podcast. Thank God his podcast has the timestamps where you know exactly what he's talking. I don't know what some of these shows think that have a 2-hour show, and I'm going to sit down and listen. It's just not going to happen. Like, it's not going to happen. So thank God the timestamps existed within this particular show, so I was able to go exactly to the point that I wanted to, that I was interested in. So I started listening to this clip. And the first thing, before I even go further, is this, man. Listen, for these guys that have these podcasts and you bring on guests, can we get a little bit of pushback? Is everything a guest saying innovative? Everything is like, wow. Everything is like, that's deep. Everything is like, word. Like, yo, can we get some pushback? Can somebody be like, yo, you capping? Can somebody just stand up in the corner and be like, yo, you capping right now? And really get an interesting back and forth going. It's like they bring these guests on and you agree with every single thing that they say all the way to the end of the show. I'm like, yo, can we get some balance here? So they brought up this LeBron James, Michael Jordan kind of comparison to these guys. I don't know why they still continue to try to do this, but they brought it up. And then Rich Paul started talking, and he started bringing up some irrelevant point that nobody was even thinking about, nobody was even caring about. And he thought that by bringing up this point, it would somehow change some minds to be like, oh, well, now I can actually see why LeBron should be considered the GOAT. It was that bad. But before we even get into how bad that was, because I was actually nauseated by the time I was finished listening to it. But before I even get to that, this video is brought to you by our brand new sponsor, Factor Meals, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kit. If you're like me or anybody that works at Dreamerspro, chances are you're a very, very busy person, especially during the lunchtime when you don't have time to go to the grocery store, pick out fresh ingredients, and come back home and cook healthy, delicious meals. Sometimes we're so busy that you just end up finding yourself making a ham sandwich or something like that, which isn't really ideal. And this is the reason why we are excited to be partnering with Factor Meals. Factor Meals is America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kit. You can choose from up to 35 gourmet meals. Every meal is packed with premium ingredients, crafted by Factor Meals' team of culinary experts and designed by dietitians to ensure that every meal is packed with premium science-backed nutritional quality. Your meals are delivered directly to your door, and all you need to do is heat them up in just under 2 minutes. Then they are ready for you to eat and enjoy. So for example, this week, I think I'm gonna go with the Italian herb chicken. What I love is that under every single meal, you can see if it's a calorie conscious option. For example, this meal I just chose is the dietitian approved calorie smart meal, which is around 550 calories or less per serving, and also a protein plus meal with 30 grams of protein or more per serving. So if you want to give it a try, click the link in the description below or head over to factormeals.com/dreamers50 and use code dreamers50 to get 50% off. And remember, when you try Factor Meals by using the link in the description below, remember that you're supporting this channel. Thank you. So let me just get into the comments that Rich Paul made. We want to play it for you guys. It's a little bit lengthy. I apologize if your head starts hurting while listening to it. Please just bear with me and take a listen to what Rich Paul had to say here, and then we'll come back and continue off the show. Take a listen to that.
Mike transcended the game. When Kobe came, Kobe was a silhouette of Mike, right? That's everything, which is great. But LeBron is the first player to have to deal with a 24/7, 365 news cycle of sports and opinions from those that's not even capable or carry the expertise to give a valid opinion, right? In addition to, no, I'm not gonna really do it how y'all want me to do it. I'm probably gonna do it how I decide to do it. We all know that don't go over well, right? And so then you have this environment in this sports society that's created, right? And so now you have the root against. That's a whole nother thing that Mike never had to deal with because his hardest critic was probably Peter Vesey.
Yep. Straight up.
You see what I'm saying?
Peter Vesey.
But I just think LeBron's antlers is in platinum and Michael's may be in gold. Why? Because when you think about, he had to be compared to Mike. Who did Mike have to be compared to?
Talk about it.
Right? You talk about, oh, he lost this X amount of finals. Well, how many finals you been to?
2.
How hard was it to get there?
Extremely.
How many finals you been to?
Not a goddamn one.
What about you? Why didn't you go?
Hard.
Had to go to LeBron.
Right.
We talking about 4 guys, 3 lottery picks, a guy a rule, the Gilbert Arenas rule was created for him, because of him, you know. But then you got to also think about when LeBron came into the league.
Yep.
T-Mac, Paul Pierce, AI, Kobe, you had all these guys. And we're talking about this kid. We just saw the clip of his teammates. Oh, he's gonna have to join the bandwagon. Huh? And D Miles, my man. Mom was a sweetheart. D Miles took, welcomed me with open arms. Can't blame him for that.
Nah.
He don't know what's getting ready to take place.
Nobody did.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
But yet and still, this is what you get. So now, when you talk about the GOAT, okay, the man made a decision to go to Miami. Whether you like it or not, every kid today is saying what? I'm taking my talents too. It was just ahead of his time. It's okay for us to say that. He was the first social media athlete of anything. It's okay for us to say it was ahead of his time. Now, I never think it's an easy way to break up with anybody, especially your wife or, or franchise that drafted you from home. So, maybe not necessarily the best decision optically,
Yep.
but the thought and the intent of it was genuine, from the heart. Boys and girls, but you talk about propaganda, so it's a different dynamic, right? Then the narrative of, okay, well, he went to Miami and, they made him this way. What? Now, what did help was infrastructure, consistency, professionalism, which LeBron's always had. That's no question about that. But I'm saying overall, from a culture perspective, right?
Organization.
Yep. Which was all great. But to create this narrative of he needed somebody and they, no, it's a shared need. Because if I don't go there,
they don't win.
what are you talking about? You get what I'm saying? Now, that's not coming, if you ask anybody in the Heat organization, at least me, they'll tell you how much they appreciate it, still appreciate it. You get what I'm saying? But the narrative from the media perspective was something totally different. So when you just get into that GOAT conversation, and I always say this, comparisons are the thief of joy. But Michael's a GOAT, no question about it. But LJ's a GOAT as well. He came in, $100 million contract. Think people like that? There hasn't been one since, and it won't be one. Right? It's a good segue for you, Joe. It won't be one. You feel what I'm saying? Because shoe deals ain't what they used to be. But I'm just saying, when you talk about all the teammates around them that got paid, all the coaches that got paid, all the Lance Blanks, Chris Grant, Danny Ferry, Wes Wilcox was there. He's a GM.
Yep.
When you just really break down the impact, right? How could you say that this man is not a GOAT? I think 2007 taking Eric Snow and Ilgauskas and Sasha Pavlovich to the finals was a turning point.
That team was trash.
I think scoring, I'm not going to say all that. I'm not saying
that wasn't trash, but they wasn't champion.
No, I'm just saying,
going to the championship.
At 22 years of age, he took a team to the finals, right? As the underdog, always been the underdog. Every finals he ever played outside of 2012 and maybe 2011 was the underdog, right? For the most part. So that was a turning point. 29 straight against Detroit was the turning point.
My bad. Yeah, I forgot that game.
That was a turning point.
So you heard what he had to say. Oh my Lord, these dudes, man. These dudes. I don't know. What are we gonna do with these people, man? What are we gonna do with these people? What are we gonna do with these people? So basically, it's not about winning. It's about getting there. And please help me understand, just because LeBron got criticized, according to him, LeBron has been criticized or scrutinized more by the media. Help me understand, how does that make him better than Michael Jordan? I'm trying to figure it out. So if people said things about LeBron in the media, what does that have to do with what's happening on the court? What does that have to do with those finals losses? What does that have to do with the fact that MJ has 10 scoring titles or has 6 MVPs in the finals or 6 championships or the highest regular season scoring average in NBA history, the highest playoff scoring average in NBA history, the highest finals average in NBA? What does that have to do with anything? It has absolutely nothing to do with anything relevant. So the question then becomes, why did you bring it up? Why did you bring it up? He then went on to make another ridiculous point about the ratings that LeBron generates. These guys, let me tell you something. These guys make things up because they know their base, their followers don't do research. They know that. They're just making things up. If you've been following the NBA like some of us have, you will know that the viewership has actually been going down. Who doesn't know this? Except these guys. Who does not know? There's data that shows this. Do you realize that the most viewed NBA finals ever involved Michael Jordan in the 98 Chicago Bulls? Do you know that game 6 of that NBA finals brought in 35.89 million viewers? Do you know that an NBA finals since then has not even sniffed that number whatsoever? These guys are just making things. Even the Cleveland Cavaliers with the Golden State Warriors, they were averaging around 20 to 17 million viewers. Their highest peak, this is when you had Stephen Curry, Kyrie Irving, LeBron James, all of those guys. The highest viewed game was back in was in Game 7 in 2016, and that game got 31 million viewers. 31 million viewers. Nobody created more interest for fans, for the casual fan, than Michael Jordan did when he was playing in the NBA. This is a fact. These guys just simply make up things. They're just talking. They're just inventing reality. Who in their right mind would make an argument that LeBron brings in more viewership numbers than Michael? Who would do that except these dudes? It's only these dudes that would bring up these points. It's unbelievable to me that he even tried to make a point. Then he brought up the most disgusting, shameful point of them all. Do you know what Rich Paul said? He said that 8 of the 10 finals that LeBron James played in, he was the under. Before I even annihilate that point, this guy is trying to make an excuse for losing. He's actually trying to normalize losing and second place prizes. These are the people that create participation trophies. That's what it is. Oh, don't feel too bad. At least you made it there. Don't feel too bad. Yeah, I know you wanted to be number 1, but it's not too bad. What kind of lousy thinking is this? If you win, you'll take all the credit. If you lose, you find a way to still take credit. What is this? LeBron was an underdog in 8 of the 10 finals he played in. Okay, let's just go through a few. LeBron made it to the finals in 2011. Was he the underdog with the Miami Heat and the Dirk's Mavs? Well, you would have to be a flagrant idiot to say the otherwise. Obviously, they weren't. The next one. Were they the underdogs against the Oklahoma City Thunder? Help me figure it out. If LeBron is the best player in the world, how could he be the underdog when he's playing with another Hall of Famer, Dwayne Wade and Chris Paul, and they won that finals, right? Good. Then there was one against the Spurs. He was the underdog with an old Tim Duncan and all of that stuff, and then they'll say, well, okay, nobody can beat the Spurs. Okay, good. So now he was the underdog. He got beat because he was the underdog, not because he got beat. Good. We then move forward. The one with the Cavs when Kyrie, that series when Kyrie and Kevin Love got hurt and he was playing in that one, I'll give you that one. The next one, I got some pertinent information for you guys here. In the 2017 NBA Finals, let me give you guys some numbers because this is their claim to fame. LeBron he lost because he had no chance. How could you expect him to win? He didn't have a chance. Come on, give him a chance. The trio of LeBron James, Kyrie Irving, and Kevin Love in that 2017 finals averaged 79 points per game, 27.2 rebounds per game, 15.4 assists per game, 4.6 steals. The trio of Kevin Durant, Stephen Curry, and Klay Thompson averaged 78.4 points per game, 21 rebounds, that trio, and 17 assists with 3.5 steals per game. The LeBron Cavs trio outscored them, out-rebounded them, and stole the ball more than them. Does that sound like a heavy mismatch? Help me figure it out. Because all it sounds like to me is excuse making. Excuse making. That's all it sounds like. To address one of his final points, he brought up the fact that LeBron has gone to the NBA Finals so many times. Let's ask the question. How was he able to do that? Help me figure it out. How was LeBron able to go to the NBA Finals so many times in his career in the Eastern Conference? How was he able to do that? How was he able to do that? I'll tell you. The reason LeBron was able to go to so many NBA Finals is because in round 1, when he was playing in the Eastern Conference, he was facing 41 and 41 teams, 500 teams. When Kobe and those boys were going to the finals, they were facing 50-win teams to start the playoffs. When Kobe was playing in the Western Conference, you needed at least a 50-win record to even make it into the playoffs. At least. For the 2 years, that 2 years, Kobe, those back-to-back chips, do you know Kobe Bryant beat more in the span of 2 seasons? Do you know he beat more 50-win teams than all of Magic Johnson ever beat in his career? Are y'all aware of this? Who were the juggernauts, LeBron and these? They were playing weak-ass teams, and then they got to the Western Conference, Eastern Conference Finals, then they would face one team. There was some years in the Eastern Conference. That only 2 or 3 teams that were in the playoffs would win at least 50 games. Do y'all know this? To me, I think they need to let this thing go. They need to let it go. These points these guys are trying to make is pathetic. It is pathetic. They are pathetic points. Pathetic points. It's really embarrassing, I gotta say. These are lame points to make. It's like you're looking for sympathy. Well, but see what happened here. This is why he should be the GOAT. Come on. He lost. Give me something. This is embarrassing. These are my thoughts. Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts in the comment section. And we'll catch you guys on the next show. Peace.